What's going on, guys? Good morning. It is Friday, 11:36 in the morning. So I do have to make an announcement first uh, about the suspension with YouTube. So I thought it would be at the most a couple of days, a week. They have suspended the live shows for 2 weeks. So what we have decided to do instead is like tonight, there's going to be a show recorded tonight and it will be released at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, like it normally is that we do the live show on Saturday. So the only difference is it won't be live, but it'll still be the same people who are on, who are available for at least 2 weeks. So it's a little less than 2 weeks now, but you get the gist. So this Saturday, no live. Next Tuesday, no live. The following Saturday, no live, and then the following Tuesday, there should be the live back. Okay, so it's my fault. My apologies for not knowing YouTube's latest policy, especially when it comes to weapons, and not vetting the video prior. So I'm going to take that on me. It is my channel. It's my mistake for trying to promote a channel and not foundation, excuse me, and not really vetting the foundation. Okay, so my apologies. All right. So now that that's out the way, I want to do a couple stories, and I'm gonna do a couple tonight that are different than these, and we'll just go from there. Okay. So for the first story, you guys, I have here is where these doctors are giving warnings and nurses are giving warnings about the VA being more privatized. I think I mentioned this. I think going back 2 years, every time one of these stories come up, I make you guys aware of because it is going to be privatized at some point. Now, for some people, they look at it as a positive thing. And the reason why I bring this up, man, is because there are a lot of people who depend on services from the Department of Veterans Affairs, where when they privatize it now, it's going to be different. There may be still a few hospitals that they keep open in major cities, but the idea is to shrink all of these facilities and save the government a bunch of money. Because right now, there are facilities in every state, in all U.S. territories. Okay, there are facilities, and the government has to maintain all these facilities, which is why they cut back on like nursing home care because there were so many. And now, they have the caregiver program. That's to eliminate when this last group leaves these nursing homes, people are primarily going to be at home getting care. They rather pay a family member to do that versus have the facility at the VA. So in case you guys haven't noticed this, that's the change that's coming. For me personally, I think the VA should have done something like this a long time ago where the veteran has the option instead of, well, you got to go here to get this done. You know what I mean? Like if you're in a rural area, you should be able to go to a rural hospital and get the care that you need or physical therapy. And it's going to help out the community as well because you're providing a service. They're providing a service that's paying them, right? But I knew this was coming. It's just a matter of time. And it's just going to slowly keep phasing out. So do not be surprised, guys, that at some point they make an announcement that there's only going to be a few VAs and major hubs and all of the other ones are going to be phased out. Do not be surprised. Okay. All right. Let's move to the next story real quick. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these stories, guys, because again, tonight we're going to do a pre-recorded show. So I know it's going to be a little different because there won't be that much interaction or any interaction with you guys out there, but hopefully you'll still enjoy the show. Okay. This is one that's been coming up a lot lately, and we kind of talked about this about 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and that's military veterans who got out and did not pursue citizenship. Now, there are going to be people on both sides of the aisle on this, and I'll let you know where I am as I speak about this real quickly. This is something I believe they should have done in service. There are plenty of veterans who've been in service, who got in, who were not U.S. citizens, who could have gotten citizenship if they were serious about this while in the military. It didn't take very much for them to do that, even when they got out. This is something you should pursue, in my opinion, immediately, so you don't have to worry about getting caught up in a situation like this, because I guess a lot of people at that point when they got out never really thought this was ever going to happen. But if I'm staying in a country where I have no ties, like for here, for example, excuse me, here in the country of Colombia, I have ties to be here. I'm a resident of the country. So I don't have no fear of them coming and say, hey, let me see your ID. Let me do this and that. I just hand them my ID card. I'm supposed to be here. I have, the documentation to be here. Where in the case of some of these veterans now, they're worried they're going to be sent back to their home country or deported somewhere else if that country decides not to take them. But to me, that's on the veteran. I mean, I have empathy for the veteran and their family, but that's on them. That's something they should have taken care of in service or immediately when they got out of service. Instead of now, years later, 10 years, 15, 20, 25 years later, now it's a concern. No, that's stuff that should have been handled. Now, I know there's people that's going to disagree with me on this, but that's my opinion of it, just like I'm sure you guys have your own opinion about it. And if you don't mind, leave it below. That's something that we can definitely discuss probably on Tuesday's show, okay? And then I have one other thing. Shout out to my man, Mike, Love and Freedom. If you guys haven't checked out his channel yet, go check out Love and Freedom's channel. Great guy, great information. Always going to put a smile on your face, whether he's doing karaoke or showing his adventures from where he and his wife went around, a bunch of different places and doing a lot of traveling. So you guys make sure to go check him out. Okay, so this is courtesy of Mike. This is for the iPads for telehealth. So you guys who have the older iPads, right, or you have an iPad and you have not gotten the newer iPad, the reason why they're sending this out is because the older iPads are not going to get updated, okay? So you need to get the newer iPad. The VA is calling it a loan tablet, okay? But normally when you call and let them know, hey, I need to get my new tablet, they'll normally tell you to just keep the old one. Rarely they'll tell you to ship it. Now, they may tell you to ship it back, depends on when you got it. But like for me, for example, I did eventually get this email talking about the iPad, and I let them know I'm no longer in the country. But for those of you who still use the VA iPad for telehealth, okay, this is for telehealth. You can request your new iPad because the old version is going to stop working because it hasn't been updated. So that's why they're sending out new ones. Okay, now if you're interested in telehealth, instead of going to your telehealth appointment with your psych doctor or even your medical doctor, if there was no need for you to physically be there, right? Like you're not doing a blood test or urine test, or you got to have some exam on you and you're just talking to your doctor, this is what telehealth is, right? So you can be still laying in bed or get up and have your appointment at whatever time. Those of you in the States, or if you still in the States, but you're traveling and you let them know, they still will allow you to do that. But if you're outside the country, this is not an option for you if you're living full-time outside of the U.S. and U.S. territories. But if you're interested in telehealth, you haven't done it yet, talk to your psych, talk to your primary care, let them know. They'll order you the iPad to where you don't have to go to physically be at every appointment. You can do some of them online, just like you see now. Okay? All right. Let me take this down. All right. And then last thing, guys, I put out a video talking about the changes. And I want to make a correction. There's tinnitus and then there's tendinitis. For whatever reason, I love saying tendinitis, but it is tinnitus. Tinnitus is the one that they eliminated, okay? If you already have a tinnitus rating, it's grandfathered. If you're trying to apply now for the tinnitus rating, no, it's going to be mixed in with something else, okay? So that 10% will no longer be there. That's being eliminated. All right. I talked about all the different proposed changes that are coming up, and that one has already taken effect with tinnitus. There are some of you who have strong opinions about this, and there are some of you that understand the changes that are coming on, and then there are some of you that are asking about grandfather clause. I would assume, but they have not officially made any statements about it, that most of you all, like myself, who've had it for a long period of time, at least 10 years or longer, you're more than likely going to be grandfather. Okay, now I'm putting that 10-year number out there. I don't know if that's going to be for sure, but that's what they've done in the past. For sure, there are going to be people who are going to be grandfather, depending on how long you've had it, that rating. Okay, The other thing I would say is, for those of you who are going, there are people at my job that are getting 100% and they don't deserve it, or, I did more time than what this veteran did, so I should get more. Look, that's a slippery slope that we're going down, trying to pick and choose who gets what, when, and how much they should get, because all disabilities are not visible. There are some disabilities that are internal. Okay. There are some people who have stents in their heart. They may have, what do you call a calf? They may have that inserted. You can't see that. You may have people who use a pump, or they got diabetic patches or whatever, and they're wearing long sleeves. You can't see that. You got people who have a lot of mental issues, and you can't really tell because the medication is working the way it's supposed to. But as soon as they get off that, they're a total different person. So that's a slippery slope to just look at someone. And even though they may function or seem to be functioning as normal, you have no idea what is going on with them internally, or what device or equipment is on them, because you can't physically see it. I'm someone that has a lot of physical disabilities, right? I, foot problems, ankle problems, knee problems, hip problems, lower back problems. Hell, I got a walker sitting right here next to me, right? And those are things, because I got knee braces, ankle braces, walking boots, back braces for my hands. I mean, those are things you can physically see, a cane to walk with. But for the people who don't have those things that you can actually see, and they want to keep it private, that's their business. But be careful out there, guys, saying this person don't deserve it, or they don't look like they are this and that. You don't know. Okay, unless they're telling you, you don't know. So be careful with that part. All right. But I will say this, and I did a short, and I don't know if it came up yet. If you're in the US, in the US territories, and they're sending you a letter or an email to go to a 1 year exam, just go to the exam. Please go. Please go. Don't allow them to accumulate something that says you don't go to exams, you don't take your medication, there's no history, you've been here in the last 5, 6, 7 years. The days of veterans doing that are coming to an end. It's coming to an end. If you have not been paying attention, if you have not been paying attention, you see the way the government is trending with Social Security, with Section 8, with food stamps. They're cutting back everything. That's why they want to go more privatized than anything, because they're going to save a bunch of money. They're going to save a bunch of money. So do your part, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen out there, my apologies, lady. Ladies and gentlemen out there, do your part. If you are PNT, okay, and they send you an email saying we need you to come do your 1 year physical exam, just go. Get it out the way. It's one time a year. If all you're doing is just taking your meds and you're not worried about going to the doctor, just get your meds. Just get them, order them. They send them right to your house. There's no excuse, because the first thing that happens is you'll hear somebody say, they took this away from me for no reason. There was a reason. You didn't go to your exams. You're not taking your medications. You're not talking to your psychiatrist. There's a reason. They're not just randomly going in, picking you out of hundreds of thousands of veterans and saying, we're just going to take his. No. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you should be fine. But if you're not, okay, then that's on you. The same with social media. And I made a video talking about this, right? Everybody's on social media now. Everybody has something that they want to share about their family, their friends, or something that happened in their life that they're excited about. Cool. But be careful what you put out there on social media. Be careful what you say on social media, because those very things can be used against you. I noticed that a lot of the younger veterans out there that are doing a lot of traveling, that's on YouTube and TikTok and all these things. I'm 100% disabled veteran. right? But yet, ski-doos, you in the club, you partying every night, you're around tons of people, you're doing this, you're doing that. Now, I don't know if you have something internal that's going on with you. I don't know if it's for psych or whatever, but I do know what these people see just like everybody else sees, and it makes you question. If you can get out there and ride a sea-doo and do all these things, why can't you work a job? You understand what I'm saying? So it's a slippery slope, but at the same time, if the government can use that against you, don't think they won't, because they most certainly will. Y'all know it. Those of you who dealt with the military, dealt with our US government, you know how this works. Nothing that I'm saying should be surprising to you at all. Okay? Last thing I want to discuss real quick is me talking about living abroad, cost of living abroad. I appreciate everybody who left comments and liked those videos. I think I only put out 2, but I had put out some in the past because there are veterans who ask about the cost of living here in Medellin. I always try to look at things from the perspective of living like an American in a foreign country. You know, I never look at it from the perspective of trying to live like a local, because most people who are coming are not equipped or not accustomed to living the way locals live here. So I try to give you the standpoint of living similar to the way you live in the US, right? Like if you don't have a car or you can't drive, like in my instance, I have a driver. You know, I have maid service, I have a caregiver, part-time chef, all these things, right? Uh, and it just blows me up my mind when people say, oh, well, it's so much cheaper. If you're going to live like a local, it is. Very much so, it is cheaper. But if you do not plan on living like a local, it most certainly is not. This is why when you look at statistics, most people who try to move abroad based upon what the fantasy is that they're told do not make it. They're back within their own home country within a year because they were sold a bill of goods that is just not true, especially if you are expecting US standards. And that's all I'm trying to say to people is be realistic. Whoever's telling you that these places are cheaper, look at their whole channel. Look at everything that they actually do, because probably 7 out of 10 do absolutely nothing. And the reason why, money. This is the number one driver no matter where you go, money. There are so many people making videos talking about why they're leaving the US, but I never hear people talk about all the people who already left while they're going back to the US. And the number one reason why a lot of them are going back, money. They didn't have enough. I try to put out videos to show people if you're still under the age of 65, because I'm still putting into my 401k. I'm 52. I'm going to put into that 401k until I hit 55, and then I'm gonna pull that out. So I've been doing fine without it. But there are people out there who have nothing saved, nothing whatsoever, and that's not a good position to be in, right? And I try to show people, hey, if you don't put yourself in a good financial position, you're going to be looking for alternative places to go, and these alternative places you're looking to go are going to be far worse than where you're coming from in the States. They are. Because when you look at the real landscape of what's going on out there in the world today, to be quite honest with you, there are people on Section 8 in the United States of America that are living far better than a lot of these people who moved abroad. That is the truth. There is nowhere you're going to find a luxury apartment in this world. Luxury. And the whole point of going abroad, right, is that I'm doing better. I'm living better. I'm living better than where I left. If you guys were to actually see where these people are and the conditions a lot of them are living in, because it's coming up on rainy season here real soon. That means there's going to be flooding again. And a lot of these people are in those flood zones that are sitting there trying to brag to you all about $200, $300, $400 apartments. They're $300, $400 for a reason. Okay, they're $500, $600 for a reason. But the ones who are living in better situations, and they try to explain, hey, this is what it really costs to live this way. The $1,500 to $2,000, those are all fantasies. Unless you plan on living in the woods or some super small town outside these major cities, okay. If you're gonna do that, cool, do that. But tell people that. Don't sell people a fantasy about something being cheap when it's not. And I don't care where you go in this world. I don't care what country it is in this world. Pay attention to where they are. Really pay attention. Look at how small everything is, where you can see the entire place in one shot from a camera lens. Usually these camera lenses are 24 mil, some are 20, some are 18. I can see your living room, your kitchen, and your bathroom in one shot. What does that tell you? Okay. With that being said, guys, that's it. I'm out. Peace. There will be a video tomorrow. It will be pre-recorded. And again, it's my fault for having the 2-week suspension of the live show. All right. So I'm out, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.